My family didn't believe in curses until the land took its first child. After that, everything changed. Not all at once, but enough that looking back, the signs were always there. This happened on the outskirts of Riverton, Louisiana. There's a stretch of land out there that people avoid without really knowing why. They don't stop, they don't explore, they don't build. The silence alone is enough to make you uneasy. That land used to belong to my family. We were known around there, respected, the kind of family people recognized by last name alone. For a long time, we all lived together in one ancestral home right on the edge of the fields. But families crack, usually quietly. Arguments started popping up. Nothing dramatic at first, just tension, old grudges, things that never quite got resolved. Eventually, it split us. Some of the family moved closer to town. Others settled in a nearby area called Oak Hollow. And then there was my uncle, Thomas Reed. Thomas didn't believe in any of the old stories. He trusted logic, hard work, and his own judgment. When the family separated, he decided he didn't want neighbors or help or anyone close by. He wanted to be alone, so he built a house deep inside his farmland, nearly half a mile from the closest person. To the west of the house was an old marsh, dark, still water, the kind locals warned people about, especially after dark. To the south, hidden behind thick trees, was an abandoned cemetery. Everyone warned him. Thomas ignored all of it. Before the house was finished, a spiritual advisor came to walk the land. He didn't say much at first, just walked slowly, like he was listening to something no one else could hear. Then he stopped near the western side of the house. He said the house was blocking a path. He told Thomas to move it east and leave the west side open. Thomas smiled, thanked him, and kept building exactly where it was. That's when the problem started. Every morning, the western wall had new cracks, deep ones. Sometimes entire sections collapsed overnight. Thomas blamed vandals, then neighbors, then bad construction. But after weeks of repairs, he finally moved the wall slightly east. The cracking stopped, at least for a while. That winter, during harvest season, Thomas stored bundles of crops inside the house. One night, he stacked some of them against the western wall. The next morning, they were burned from the inside. Not knocked over, not scattered, just standing there, charred and hollow. When he touched them, they crumbled into ash. From that day on, the western side of the house was always cold, no matter the weather. Not long after, he started hearing footsteps at night. Slow, heavy footsteps, moving along the western wall toward the front of the house. One night, Thomas stayed awake to see what it was. Through the window, he saw an old woman walking past the house. She was soaked, like she'd come straight out of the marsh. The air around her smelled like stagnant water and decay. He called out to her. She never turned around. The next morning, Thomas woke up burning with fever. He recovered, but he was never quite the same after that. After that, everything started falling apart. Crops failed, money disappeared. The children got sick one by one. Anyone who visited refused to stay the night. They said the house felt heavy, like it was pressing in on them. Spiritual healers came and went. Things would calm down for a short time, then start all over again. Then one summer afternoon, Thomas's youngest son went down to the marsh to bathe. He never came back. They found his body near the water's edge later that day. After that, the house stopped feeling haunted and started feeling angry. During the morning, Thomas's daughter collapsed in the middle of the night. Her body twisted in ways that didn't make sense. When she spoke, it wasn't her voice. She pointed toward the western wall and said she wasn't finished. She said she would take another. Later that night, she disappeared. They found her unconscious at the edge of the cemetery. No one could explain how she got there. That's when the family sought out a woman known as Mother Eliza. She listened to the whole story without interrupting. Then she said Thomas had built his home across the path of something ancient, something that had been walking that land long before any of us arrived. She gave him a sealed red cloth and told him where to place it. That night, she came to the house herself and performed a ritual. The cloth was thrown into the marsh. People watching said white bubbles rose violently from the water. The wind carried a sound that didn't feel human. 4 iron spikes were buried at the corners of the house. After that night, everything stopped. No footsteps, no cold air, no shadows. Thomas changed after that. Thomas changed after that. He became quiet, careful, respectful of things he used to dismiss. Years later, he moved his family far away. He never went back to that land. The marsh is still there, untouched, avoided. Some places don't need to be haunted to be dangerous. Sometimes they were never meant to be disturbed. Years passed and life moved on the way it always does. People stopped talking about Thomas. The land changed hands on paper, but no one ever really used it. Anyone who tried to farm it gave up within a season. Equipment broke down for no reason. Animals refused to cross certain parts of the field. Dogs would stop short and whine like they were being pulled back by something you couldn't see. Locals started saying the marsh was cursed. Others said it was just bad land. But no one ever stayed long enough to test either idea. Every now and then, someone would wander too close at night. They'd swear they heard footsteps moving through the grass, slow and deliberate, always heading in the same direction, west to east, like something was still following a route it had walked for centuries. A few people claimed they'd seen an old woman near the marsh just before sunrise, always soaked, always walking, never stopping, never looking at anyone who called out to her. And the strange thing is, she was never seen going toward the water, only away from it. Years after Thomas died, curiosity got the better of me. I drove out there one afternoon, just to see it for myself. The house was gone by then. Only the foundation remained, half swallowed by weeds and mud. But the ground felt wrong. The air was cold in places it shouldn't have been. And when I walked toward where the western wall used to stand, my chest tightened for no clear reason, like my body knew something my mind didn't. Near the edge of the marsh, I noticed 4 rusted iron spikes, barely visible through the mud, still in place, still doing their job. I didn't stay long. As I was leaving, I heard something behind me. Not footsteps this time. Just the sound of water moving where the marsh had been still moments earlier. I didn't turn around, because some paths don't disappear just because you block them.